Welcome to Sports from the Couch
I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
with your host, Mike Mercado.
Players cannot stand him. Coaches cannot stand him. Most importantly, the fans can't stand him.
Brought to you by Mercado Airwaves.
I'm gonna say it once, and hopefully I'm wrong, but it's a disaster waiting to happen.
That is so bad, that is absolutely brutal.
Hello and welcome in, friends, to another edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day, and a happy Labor Day to each and every one of you. I hope you each had a wonderful, safe Labor Day weekend. And on this edition of Sports from the Couch, we're going to have a fun one this holiday. We want to rank and tier maker the 2020-2021 NBA City Edition jerseys. But before we get to that, let's take care of some housekeeping notes. You can follow us all over the universe. I'm on Twitter at Mike and Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media. Be interactive with the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Check out the video version of the podcast over at YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. Hit that little bell and hit the subscribe button to be notified every single time we upload a brand new episode. We're on Roku. Shout out to Jerry Riles over at The Rewind Sports 60. Check us out at Roku at The Rewind Sports 60. We are on all major podcast platforms. That's right. Like, rate, review, and share us wherever you get your favorite podcasts at Mercado Airwaves. You can subscribe to us on Patreon. That's right. Become a producer at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Check out our swag over at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. And we're on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Give us a like over on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves, and keep up to date with every single time we drop a brand new episode of the Two Nerds of a Feather podcast, The Good Brothers, The Gone Missing podcast, Murder Mysteries, and more. A brand new episode of Sports from the Couch, and of course our interviews with athletes and celebrities by following us on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. All right, guys, let's get to future Mike as we rank, as all of us enjoy this Labor Day on a tier maker Labor Day, as we rank the NBA 2021 NBA City Edition jerseys. Enjoy. Thank you for keeping it tuned in, friends, here on Sports from the Couch on this Labor Day. I hope each and every one of you has had a wonderful, safe Labor Day weekend, and we are here to tier rank the 2020-2021 NBA City Edition jerseys. I know for a lot of people, this is their favorite jersey for their favorite NBA team. I know for a lot of people, they love the classics. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm much more a traditionalist, especially in Chicago. We have so many great jerseys, but I know for a lot of different fan bases, this is their best jerseys. So don't take it personally. Let's have fun debates. Let's have fun conversations. Wherever you want to contact us, we're on Twitter at Mike and Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media. The show's on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. And of course, over on YouTube, youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network, and on Roku at The Rewind Sports 60. Leave a comment. Let's talk about it. Let's get right into it on this Labor Day. Let's celebrate by tier ranking these jerseys. And I like this MOK one for the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, right away, S tier, you got to love the fact that it's Atlanta. It does go into the culture and the city. It looks great. I like the way the design is and the fonting, because it still kind of has that ATL, sharpness to it. And I do like that it's a very strong color. I do like some of the yellow. It's not so goldish, and it's a nice bold to it, and it looks really good on that court. So that's an S tier to me, and you guys can see it right there. S, A, B, C, and D. For some reason, those on Tier Maker, they invert or they change up the colors where S is red, and like for me, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I see red marked on anything, it means wrong, incorrect. You got to change it. So it's a little bit different here on Sports from the Couch, but first one on the board on S tier is the MLK Atlanta Hawks jersey. These Brooklyn Nets ones, these are interesting, right? Because what are the Brooklyn Nets? When I think of the Nets, I think of the New Jersey Nets. I think about the 70s Nets, right? The ABA. I think about this more colorful and then like more silverish. And now with the Brooklyn Nets, much more modern, much more what you would see at IKEA, sharp corners. And then this one, what's funny is seeing it kind of have that street art look to it, that really cool aesthetic. I like it a lot. I don't think it's the best. I'm going to put it right here as a B tier to kind of start the baseline of that. So we have an S tier of the MOK, a B tier of the Brooklyn Nets. Let's get into a D tier, something that I think is just a bad jersey. And as I look over here, there's going to be some that are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. That's what we hear. H-Town, okay? Now, it's not H-Town that I don't like. It's not even the way it's put, the graphic. It's the color. Look, we know what the Houston Rockets look like. Whether it was when they were winning championships, whether it was Yao Ming, whether it was the times of James Harden, or where they're at right now. That is not how the Houston Rockets look. There's nothing in Houston. There's no other teams. There's no other aesthetic that's this color. And I think that's the one thing I don't understand about some of the city editions. And baseball did this too, where it needs to connect. It needs to have some form. If it's the city connection, it's a team that's been around for a long time, that's won championships. You kind of have to be connected to the city and have some tie of tie to the lineage of it, right? And you have that perfect excuse right here for Houston, and they didn't do it. So there's your baseline for the D tier. Now, there is no F tier because they on surface level, they're all kind of awesome. So I wanted to make sure that we didn't give anybody a crazy grade, but there is now your baseline. So we go to the Boston Celtics. Clean. Obviously just kind of keeps the look of the Boston Celtics. The one issue with it, what doesn't make it look all that, like, to me, if you're in Boston and you're a shout out to all our Celtics fans over there, it looks like a banner. It looks like their banners. Like, it looks like their championship banners. So part of that is kind of cool. And then part of it is like, So if you're a Celtics fan, I could see this being a really popular jersey. If you're not, I could see it. So to me, it's not S tier. It's a little bit better than Brooklyn. Put it in that A tier. It's a very nice jersey, though. Here's where this is a C jersey, and it gets very close to that H-Town Buzz City. I like Charlotte. I like the Hornets. There's so many cool things you could do with the Hornets. So many cool things. And we all know about the starter jackets and whatnot. At the very least, though, this kind of stays in its theme, in its family, in its lineage of how it looks. And if they were to go a little bit more, of a true blue and silver, then you can have the Carolina, the Panthers effect to it. But regardless, this feels like a Charlotte Hornets jersey. And you got to give them the pass for that. It's a C, not my favorite, not bad. And I would have liked a little bit more from it. Maybe you can incorporate a little bit more of the honeycombs, but that's just me. Maybe that's too much. That's where I rank that one. Here's Chicago, right? The Chicago Bulls. So I'm sure a lot of people over here are going to think that I'm going to put them all the way up there or all the way in the bottom. This, to me, is, again, a very middies. I would even put this as a C tier, head a little bit ahead of the Buzz City. It's not as good, or it's not on the tier of the Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to get some hate for that here in the city of Chicago. Y'all know how much I love the Chicago Bulls, and especially how cool they look. That's part of the allure when you're first getting into sports, is how amazing. And as a kid, to see Michael Jordan wearing the red and wearing the black and wearing the white, it's like a superhero. It's like seeing Batman in his best costume or Superman in his best costume. So the Bulls, in this instance, they try to market it off as the Chicago Theater and the railroad, and okay. But if you don't, other than the way the Chicago looks, it's a very bland jersey. There's not a lot of Chicago in it, a lot of Chicago Bulls in it. And in a city where you could incorporate and be very creative, and where you had the NBA All-Star Game, you could have done something with the skyline. You could have done something with the Chicago colors. They did that a few years ago with the Chicago-themed Bulls head, and that may have been a little bit too All-Star Game-ish, but I do think it's a nice jersey. It's a clean jersey, but it being the Chicago Bulls, they have so many other better ones. That's why I'm going to rank them as a C. Let me know your thoughts. Do you rank these a little bit differently because they are not as good as the normal jerseys? Am I being too harsh? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Here is a Cleveland one. I think this is D tier. I think it's better than H-Town. It's very close. Again, you can see kind of the aesthetic of the Brooklyn, Chicago, Cleveland. I think this one tries to be a little bit of both. Imagine had they gone to that 80s look. had they tried to incorporate that very retro-looking Cavaliers logo, even some of that early 90s one where it got the black background with it, I think that would have been kind of cool. This one, it just seems like they want to be hip, they want to be cool. And it's like, how cool can the Cavaliers be? No offense to all the Cleveland fans, but how cool can the Cavaliers be? So, not one of my favorite jerseys. Now, this is an interesting one, and that's the Dallas Mavericks. This is, to me, a wonderful S-tier jersey, and it kind of makes me out to be a hypocrite, and straight up I am, because what does it really have to do with the Dallas Mavericks, per se? Like, how often are the Mavericks in gold, with all plain white and some silver lining? But just as a jersey, it looks wonderful, and there is this aura of Dallas kind of being golden. It's weird. Like, if for example, if Chicago tried doing something like this, it would look a little weird to say, oh, Chicago, all the gold and stuff. With Dallas, it kind of fits. And especially it being Luka Doncic. And I wonder how much that has to do with him being worn by Luka Doncic. Call me a hypocrite. I understand it. They are an S tier. I think that is a wonderful jersey. Another top tier jersey is the Denver Nuggets jersey. I love the red. I love the skyline. I love the mountains. And when you think of Denver, you obviously think of snow, but you don't really think about like how the mountain rain and like that part of the United States does kind of have that red look to it, right? That you more associate that look with, let's say, Phoenix, right? When you think of it because of baseball. But that's a great color for Denver, and it does incorporate all these different eras of their jerseys, and you can still kind of see what they were going for with the sunrise. I love the Denver Nuggets one. It's a top tier, one of my favorite city ones. Here's one that it's okay. I'm going to put it in C tier. It was the Motor City one. At least it keeps with the theme of the Detroit Pistons color scheme. My issue is it's kind of boring. It's kind of plain. But in that is, at least they didn't try to do something crazy weird. So I think it's a very clean jersey, and it nothing more, nothing special. But if you're a Detroit Pistons fan, I think you could wear that jersey almost anytime and it be like, okay, yeah, that's cool. It's not going to be anybody's favorite. It's not going to be their first choice out the closet, but I really enjoyed that one. Speaking of enjoying, how about this as a B tier? Because it doesn't say Warriors on it. It says Oakland, but you do like that it says Oakland. So that's kind of cool, even though they don't play in Oakland anymore. I love these Warriors jerseys. I think these are very cool. They're my childhood jerseys when it comes to, those 2000 Oakland Golden State Warriors. I love that old school logo. So love this jersey, especially Steph Curry wearing it. There is something retroly cool to it. And that also shows our age that like the 2000s are retro now. But it's a very cool scheme. I like that they incorporate Oakland. I like the how bold it looks. But it also isn't so flashy, which, and here's the crazy thing about the Warriors. The Warriors have some wonderful jerseys. And it is tough for them to come up with very cool, update versions of them. I think this is a home run in that. That's why it's a B tier right next to Brooklyn. I'll actually put it ahead of the Brooklyn Nets. How about the Indiana Pacers? I'm going to put this one at A. Classic. This is nice. This is what I like about the Pacers. It looks like the throwback. Now, you could say it's almost a default. Oh, they might as well have just made it a throwback jersey. I think this is a wonderful jersey for what represents Indiana. Indiana basketball. Pacers basketball. I love this jersey. It's an A tier. And look at that, right next to Boston, a classic looking jersey that feels like it's part of the lineage of that franchise. Here come the Clippers, huh? Speaking about lineage and franchises, right? I'm sure a lot of people like this one. I'm sure it's popular. I know the players like it a lot. I'm going to put it right ahead of, I'm going to put it right below this one. I think it's a C. I think it's right there with Chicago, Buzz City, and Detroit. I mean, what makes it Clippers? It makes it Los Angeles, right? Like, it looks cool. It looks LA. But in that, it's trying to be, what it reminds me of, trying to be like the NWO. It's like, oh, you have the Lakers who look like this. And we'll get to right now. You look like, I'm going to put the Lakers as a B tier because it's a very, I'm going to put them up as an A tier one. And I'm, me, I'm not a LeBron stan. I'm not a LeBron hater. I'm not a Lakers stan. I'm not a Laker hater. But it kind of keeps with the tradition of the Minneapolis Lakers. It has a they're the Lakers, so you have at least the excuse of being blue and the very clean white. I don't like that the Lakers do so many weird ones. Like, I don't think of the Lakers as a team with black jerseys. I don't think of the Lakers as a team with, like, those harsh of purple jerseys. It's like, to me, it's gold and purple and white. I love the whites and gold. Purple's okay, but I don't like the modern day purple they use. For a city edition that they could have gone completely wacky because of LeBron and AD and all the marketing, I think this was a nice, clean jersey. When you look at the Clippers, it looks like they want to be the bad guys. It looks like they want to be the cool, edgy team. It's a nice jersey. It goes with everything. It goes with any outfit. It's a wonderful barbecue jersey. But is it a cool jersey? Like, when you start really digging deep into it and you have to start ranking it. Okay, you know what? To be fair, I'm going to put in the B tier. Because at least they're trying to be cool. But I think because they're trying to be cool, it can't be like the LA Clippers. It's a clean jersey, though. Like, if you were just to say what's the quality of the jersey, nice. I like the one that it's the LC and it has the basketball on the chest. Now, I know a lot of different teams use the logo-only jerseys, but I think that's a cool Clippers one. I'm not a huge fan of this one, but we'll put a B to be fair. Let me know your thoughts, though. What is your preference of the LA basketball teams? Do you like the Lakers jersey or the Clippers jersey? And this is a fun one. The Memphis Grizzlies. We're going to put this one as an A tier. Again, kind of going back to his ties of the Vancouver Grizzlies and incorporating that look to it and modernizing it and putting Memphis on it. And I like that. I think that's what this should have been. It should have embraced the culture of your current team, but also incorporated its lineage. And I think it's tough for some teams. I'm going to go to Chicago where, you want to incorporate the city of Chicago, but if you're going to do it, you got to also keep the aesthetic of how awesome the red, the black, the white are for the Chicago Bulls. I mean, it's universal. It's what's made Jordan so cool. Imagine if Jordan was wearing some weird colors. Like, it helps the aesthetic of it. So that's why I like this Memphis one. It's the Memphis Grizzlies. They're a team that can kind of get away with having some more unique looking jerseys. I think that's why I really like them. I'm put them in A tier. And you can kind of see what I really like in the A tier and the S tier. It's going to be controversial for a lot of people, but I just love those three jerseys so far. And speaking of S tier, these Miami jerseys, number one. I mean, what else can you ask for? If you're not going to incorporate the true color scheme of your franchise that's won multiple championships, and then you're going to go super hard on the city edition of it, then this is what I'm talking about. That right there, what the Miami Heat did, is the Miami Heat. That is the city of Miami. That is Florida, baby. That's Miami Vice. That's Grand Theft Auto Vice City. That's Scarface. That's everything good about Miami. Anything pop culture relevance of Miami is right there. That jersey is pure NBA gold. And when you see it on the courts and the way they change it and the way the vibes are, and they're on the water on Star Island, it is wonderful. It is a perfect city edition jersey that might become one of their just traditional jerseys. That is a top tier one. Here's the Milwaukee one. Now, it's traditional. It kind of harpens back to old times. I'm going to put it in B tier. I think it's a nice looking jersey. My problem, I really, really like Milwaukee's green scheme and how they've kind of updated it throughout the years. And there was a little rough patch where they really had that triangle with the deer in it. But this one's okay. I like it. At least it kind of has, now mind you, here being the Midwest, here in Chicago and the entire Midwest, kind of has a Native American feel to it. The way the Milwaukee looks and the color scheme. Maybe that's a subconscious thing, but I like that it incorporates a Midwest look to it, but nothing special, nothing great. Better than the Bus City and the Motor City and the Chicago one, but I can't put it much higher than that. Minnesota. I'm going to put this one in B tier. I'm going to put it ahead of LA. This one just looks like they didn't do any homework, and they're like, yeah, here's the Minnesota Timberwolves jersey. Good luck. We're going to go right to, because that one's boring. We'll go to 8. This New Orleans one's is tough. I mean, I'm going to put it as the number 1 C tier. I like the color scheme. It fits with the New Orleans theme. I think you can have so much more fun with New Orleans. I think you talk about, there's no lineage for the Pelicans. There's nothing to grab onto. So why not really embrace all the culture that you could get from New Orleans? Instead, it's just like, yeah, we'll put some of the same logo things there and red and blue, and it kind of look like our logo, and we'll move on. It's like, okay, that's all right. Nothing great. All right. We're going to fight now, right, aren't we? Knicks fans. Here we go. So, this one's tough. I'm going to put this one on the top of B tier. It looks like a Knicks jersey. At least it's I think because the Knicks have just such a basic classic jersey that you can only do so much from that. And I think what the Knicks did is opposed to trying to go what Chicago did, and that's so meta, and you can't go so hard in the paint like Miami did. This is a nice jersey. I would have liked had they incorporated more of a basketball, like the Knicks logo where they have that circle in, but I do like the orange, the blue, and the white saying the New York Knicks. And I do like the color scheme on the side. And I think it's a nice, solid black. They don't try to do too much. So for everything else that the Knicks do bad, and for how, for lack of a better term, gaudy or extra New York marketing can be, especially by these leagues, I think this is a very nice jersey. Nothing S or A tier, but a very good jersey. Who is this? That's what I thought. This is the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is a D tier. I mean, there's nothing special about it. And you can only do the orange scheme or the blue scheme, and you can't do the Supersonics thing. And that's the real crime, right? It's like you can't be Seattle Supersonics. So, and another D tier, the Orlando Magic. I mean, it's nice, it's clean, and this is the difference between this one and the Dallas Mavericks one, right? Like, Orlando, you can have, there's an old school jersey that's kind of fun to go with. You can incorporate a lot more of it, but this one, it's just orange. And yeah, it's nice. It pops. I don't think it's an ugly jersey, but there's nothing special about it. And you know what, to be fair, just because I do think it's a clean, nice jersey, I'll put it in the bottom of a C tier right there. These Philly ones are fun. I'm going to put these on a B tier. They're a nice jersey. They have the city skyline, and they do incorporate the traditional colors. Again, the black on there because it's a team that typically doesn't have a black jersey with the color scheme they're using now, not the Allen Iverson days. I think that's kind of cool. I think doing something with the Philly colors of those teams would have been kind of fun because you've gone red, white, and blue in the Liberty Bell. But for this, you kind of mix all of them in the world, and you didn't put like a weird gloss on it. So I'm going to put it in the B tier. It's a respectable jersey that if they kept wearing, you wouldn't be mad at. But nothing more, nothing less. A good B, a solid B for Philadelphia. Let's see what they do with Ben Simmons. We got to go to S tier on this one. These Valley jerseys are awesome. Oh, they're so good. This is what Denver and Phoenix did so right. They incorporated the skyline, the region, how the terrain looks, and then the colors are so bold and they pop with each other. The purple and the red and the orange and the black all go together so well for Phoenix. And the way when they were playing the finals, how just beautiful it looked on the best cameras with the court looking its best. I think this is a great jersey. And the Valley, like that's what I'm talking about, City Edition. The fact that it's the Valley and they're proud of it being called them. They were put on the spotlight. I think it's such a great jersey. You know what? I'm putting Denver and Phoenix all the way up here. And Miami, Denver, and Phoenix specifically really got what it was about these City Edition jerseys. Speaking of missing the points, missing the shot, missing the idea, or the Portland Trailblazers. Before we put them in the rankings here, we want to thank you guys for joining us on this Labor Day. Let us know your thoughts so far of where we're ranking these City Edition jerseys. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media. Be interactive with the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Leave a comment over on YouTube. See the video version of the podcast at youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network. We're also on Roku. Check us out at the Rewind Sports 60 and on all major podcast platforms at Mercado Airwaves. Yeah, these Trailblazer jerseys are not good. Look at the color. They're a little dookie-ish. And now here's the thing, right? Like, I don't know if that's part of their lineage of like old school Trailblazer jerseys, but I think you could have had more fun. Could you have been more plain? I don't know. How much can you say about it? And then you're claiming all of Oregon? I mean, does all of Oregon root for the Trailblazers? I mean, you don't think that some of the Northwest, doesn't want to root for the Seattle Supersonics at some point? So, yeah, not my favorite. Speaking of not my favorite, I don't like the Sacktown. Let me know if you're watching this from Sacramento. Do you guys call it Sacktown? Maybe you do, and maybe it's just the immature kid in me, but no, the colors are dope. So you know what? I'll put them at the very top of it, but I can't, I don't know, I think it's a little rough. I think it's a little rough just to have Sacktown on there, but it's a nice jersey. We'll move on because I don't want to be mean about it. Here's a nice one, the San Antonio one. I mean, it's if you can only do the silver. You could have done the silver thing, right? Like the old school silver throwback. But I do like just embracing the whole culture of what the San Antonio Spurs were in the 90s and when they were coming in. So I love that one. I've always really liked that jersey scheme. I've always loved the colorfulness of it. I always thought like the modern, just silver, white, and black was, while cool and updated, was just, it was kind of boring, especially when they were winning those championships. I think this is such a cool one. So that's fun. Speaking of fun, I like this Toronto one. I'm going to put this as a B tier, top of the B tier. But my big issue with this Toronto one is just the golden part of it. It's like this, I'm hypocritical because I think Dallas, it works a lot better. Toronto's is a nice jersey. It's just a nice jersey. It's not my favorite. I think I would have loved to have seen him something more with the purple, something more with the black, something with the Raptor. But I like this one because Toronto is cool. Toronto became cool, whether that's Drake, whether that's Kawhi, whatever. Toronto was cool because of Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady, in my opinion. But it's a cool jersey. And I think it would have been fun maybe had they incorporated something with the Blue Jays or the Maple Leafs or something with like their skyline, because they have a beautiful skyline and obviously all the water and whatnot. But for it just being a jersey, I think it's a very nice, solid jersey that if I were a fan, it would be in my rotation. DC one, C tier, fun, just basic, incorporates the DC. You have the hand going up. I think you could have done something more classical. I think they tried to incorporate the old Washington Bullets thing, but they only want to go back to that term so many times. So I think it's fun, but nothing great. But this is something that's great, and it will top it off and finish off this tier list. It is the Utah Jazz jersey, and this is a top tier. This one completely hits the mark, unlike some of these other ones. Look at again. It just goes with the flow of that region of America and the culture of that place and the way it has a vibrant, cool, warm colorness to it. And I love how it looks. I love the centering of the state name. I love where the numbers go. I like the black on the other colors because, again, it makes it pop. And if you look just in the top tier, there's something aesthetically pleasing about them that also, when you see it, you're like, yes, I know what team that is. And for the Utah Jazz, they've had some very unique jerseys over their entire history. And I think adding this one to it kind of just, it's kind of like a wonderful progression in their history. And we're talking from a team that had all those, the New Orleans-ish type of colors, like those yellows and whatnot, and the purples, to just the straight purples and the mountains and whatnot, to kind of where they're at now. I really like how this jersey First City Edition has played together. But that is it, guys. On this Labor Day weekend, we did ourselves a tier list, the 2020-2021 NBA City Edition jerseys. Let me know your thoughts. What did you think? Where is your favorite team? What would you change? Did you agree? Disagree? Let me know. I'm all over the universe. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media. You can be interactive with the show on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk, YouTube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network, and of course at Roku at The Rewind Sports 60. We're on all major podcast platforms at Mercado Airwaves. Become a producer of the network over at Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Check us out at Teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves and on Twitch, Twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Keep up to date with everything we're doing on the network by following us on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. We will see you next time. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. You've been listening to Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm Mike Mercado.